is the return of Mo's Sports Desk. And it's our final day for Spider Month. That and a lot more in Mo and Rob's Super Ordinary Podcast. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a fantastic show for you today, but just remember, whenever there's a Rob, there's a handsome Mo. Say hi, Mo.
What's up, y'all? Glad to be back.
That's right. All right, guys. Like I said, we have a big show for you. So let me give you the rundown. Has Insomniac got lazy? The return of Mo's Sports Desk, Spider Press Tour, Spider Month final day, and you don't want to miss our brand new day review. Yes. Man, what a week. Am I right, Mo? You had a great week, bro?
A lot of stuff going down. Oof. Number one being the Spider-Man release this week.
Absolutely. But you know what? Before we get started on that Spider-Man review, let's talk about another Spider-Man media. Let's talk about Spider-Man games in our next installment of Video Game News. Welcome, guys. Mo, I don't know if you heard, man. Insomniac got really lazy. I mean, first they want to throw you a bone. They'll be like, hey, guys, we haven't forgot about the Spider-Man 2 game that we gave to you, because even though we're working on Wolverine, so we're going to do this for you guys. We're going to update the Spider-Man 2, giving you guys the brand new costume.
Heck yeah. That sounds cool, right?
Yes, and it's the costume based on Brand New Day, which is really awesome. There's only one problem, though. The one on the far left, that's the promotion. That's what they promised us. And what we got is the one in the middle. I don't know if you could tell, but it kind of has like this weird orange tint to it. Doesn't even look like the bright red that they promoted. Yeah, and a lot of fans are kind of angry about this. It looks like Insomniac got really lazy on just adding this suit to the mix.
Mean, how do you mess that up? I mean,
this is the same company. Now, the one on the far right, that's the original suit for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And, fans complain about that too, because it had like this brownish tint to it on the red. And they promised they were going to fix it, but they never went in and fixed it. So the game has this pretty cool mechanic where, you're fighting as Spider-Man and you got to wear and tear. So it'll tear the suit and over time it'll regenerate back. But it's cool effect, like, rib bicep, rib shoulders, And
I appreciate that effect.
Yeah. The problem is the brand new suit doesn't have that effect. Doesn't have the wear and tear at all. So what the heck is going on, man?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. They did not incorporate that into the code?
I have no idea. Like I said, it seems like they got lazy, but hopefully, like in the next 2 weeks, they decide to go back and give you guys a quick update again for this suit, fix the problem, the colorings, the coloring and the programming.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little patchy there. That's unfortunate. I mean, you'd think they'd be ready to go guns blazing with the release of the movie. You would have thought those costumes would have been 100% ready to go, but I don't know.
All right.
I guess Wolverine's taking up all their time.
Yes. Jeez. Well, Insomniac, hopefully, just like you said, Mo, they'll fix it. But, gets me wondering, what's your favorite Spider-Man game?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's going to have to be man, that's tough, because I have a lot of love for the N64 PlayStation Spider-Man game.
Oh, yeah.
That game was amazing for its time.
Oh, yeah. But, and don't forget, like, even before that, we had, like, Spider-Man games in the Atari, and it was kind of, like, really whack because, pixelated. Yeah. They couldn't get the swing right. This was the first time we actually have, like, 3D models of buildings and just like, swinging mechanics for the first time. Of course, you're not attaching to anything, but it was really cool. Like, you were able to swing and climb up the buildings.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I think I really liked that one a lot because from a nostalgic standpoint, too, it was connected to that Spider-Man animated series from the 90s. And I grew up on that. I mean, that was my life. That was my lifeblood when I was a kid. So, I really love that game. But, Insomniac, the first Spider-Man game, they really really knocked it out of the ballpark with the mechanics, the web swinging. I mean, I'm gonna have to go Insomniac Spider-Man, but just, shout out to the PlayStation N64 Spider-Man game. Love that game, but I think my favorite has to be the Insomniac Spider-Man OG #1.
Cool.
You? What about you?
Okay, so I have played every single Spider-Man known to man except for Amazing and Amazing 2. But, I have played Web of Shadows, Edge of Dimension, Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man was actually great based on the Ultimate comic books. And they actually continued the story of Venom where the comic book was left off. You had to play this game to see what actually happens next to that character.
Yeah.
So it had like a little bonus for actual Ultimate fans. I really like that one. I like Friends and Foes. Friends and Foes was really cool just because in the basis that they were just using film licensed characters. So, Doc Ock was actually Doc Ock from Spidey 2, Green Goblin, Venom, Sandman, New Goblin. They had all those characters in there. That was pretty cool to like actually play with them as well. Okay, but this is gonna be my favorite one. I have played the first Spider-Man 1 for PS4. I played Miles Morales as well. But I have to say my favorite one is Spider-Man 2 for the GameCube and PlayStation 2.
Are we talking about Electro's Revenge?
No. This
Spider-Man
is
2, the film.
The film, yeah.
Okay, that was the first Spidey game where they had web swinging, right? If I'm not mistaken.
That was the first open world Spider-Man game. Yes.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
And I had such fond memories to it. And what's so cool is like, even though it was kind of like parallel to what the movie was doing, they added so much more. Like, I love the fact that in that game, you had Mysterio and he was just like a common criminal.
Yes.
So you think you're gonna stop him, have like this big boss battle, right? Because he's like the master of illusion. You do some crazy stages, involving that. But when you go face to face, 1-on-1 with him, it only took one punch to knock him out. I found that hilarious.
Whoa, that was sick, dude. You rock so hard, Spidey.
Oh, I give up. Don't hit me again.
Quentin Beck, I presume. Say cheese.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, I love that they put the Black Cat in it. I know Insomniac put the Black Cat as well, but I don't remember. Was she a DLC character or was she in the actual game?
I cannot remember for
remember.
Black Cat.
But they added Black Cat. It was I like that character a lot. It was really cool. And then just fighting Doc Ock on top of the subway train.
Reliving that movie scene.
Reliving that moment. Yeah, so I gotta say,
solid choice. I actually never got to play Spider-Man 2, the film game. I played the first one though, and actually that was one of the games I was thinking about as one of the contenders because I actually really enjoyed that game, but I never got to play the second one.
On that first game, did you 100% it?
Yeah.
Okay, you 100%. Did you play as the Green Goblin? Because that was an option.
That was fun.
You could play as the Green Goblin. You could play as MJ.
Mm-hmm.
That was
it's so cool.
That was like a little cool, man.
For a movie-based game, I mean, I really feel like they went all out for those Spider-Man Sam Raimi games.
They were fun. They were fun. They were fun. So I've been seeing a lot of the press and interviews with these amazing actors and actresses. And the cool thing is, it's been a long time since I've seen these actors promoting their movie in such a fun way. No politics, no, it's just them having a good time interview. As you can see in some of these pictures, they're just laughing, talking about the movie. And you know what? That got me even more excited because they're not showing any red flags whatsoever. And Hollywood needs to take a lesson from this group. Zendaya's always been approaching, never say anything wrong on the red carpet. But these guys together, it's like they were really happy with the characters they were playing. They were really excited for the movie. They were excited for the fans who watched the movie. And that got me excited to go watch the movie because it's been such a long while since I saw a press tour where they're not throwing any type of messaging. It's just, We're having a good time. Let's watch this movie. Let's do it. So Hollywood, take note. And then if you have a person in your cast that likes to talk certain things like politics or the world, don't let him do the press or her do the press tour at all. You don't want that. You don't want that negativity whatsoever. So just shush. And, I have a theory.
I think Mark Ruffalo wasn't really doing any of the press coverage as far as I understand as well. And I know he's pretty outspoken. So That's going to
I
get you
didn't say
going.
anything. But before we get started on reviewing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, because back to popular demand, I'm going to bring you Mo Sports Desk.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Mo's Sports Desk for the week. Just a couple of headlines I just wanted to highlight here for the week before we get into our main event this week. We're going to start off with LeBron James. Once again, LeBron James is making headlines. This week, the 76ers announced that he's going to be the primary ball handler for the 76ers moving forward with this season. So it was reported by ESPN's Sham Charania on NBA Today. 76ers plan to deploy LeBron James as their primary point guard and ball handler on offense. So Nick Nurse will run the offense through LeBron James, and Tyrese Maxey, who was the primary ball handler last season, is going to move more to an off-ball position, and hopefully that will unleash him on scoring. He is a pretty good scorer. I think that will help free up Maxey for some shots. But, I mean, let's talk about this for a second. I mean, LeBron James is 41 years old. So I don't know how much he can really give to this 76ers team playing point. Like brain IQ wise, he's one of the best. He's a basketball savant in that area. He's an underrated ball passer in my opinion. Actually, he's a fantastic passer. I don't think people talk enough about that as part of his game. But to name LeBron James as your primary ball handler makes sense, but I don't know if he's going to be able to handle it in a full-time role, especially considering the fact that the center, Joel Embiid, is almost always injured, and it's only a matter of time before he gets injured again. So LeBron's probably going to be filling the void there if Embiid goes down, probably playing at the power forward position. That's going to kind of take away from his ball handling, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, this isn't new for LeBron. And last time that he was designated as a point guard or point was with that 2020 Lakers team that won in the bubble. So nothing new for him. He's always been playing point throughout his career, one point or another. So we'll see how it goes. But Jaylen Brown and Maxey are going to be playing on the wings. LeBron's going to be playing point. We'll see how it goes. I really think it all depends on Embiid's health and LeBron being able to do this day in and day out at 41 years old. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's going to take the pressure off of him to score, and he'll be able to be more of a facilitator and ball passer for the rest of the team. At least that's what I'm thinking Nick Nurse and the 76ers are thinking, but we'll see how it goes. And moving on, we're going to go to the basketball world again with Draymond Green to the Warriors. Just re-signed with the Golden State Warriors, 1-year deal, $27.7 million deal. It's interesting because last season, Draymond Green was being talked about in discussions for a potential trade for the Golden State Warriors. They were trying to move him to try to acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo. I can never say that right. But that deal ultimately didn't fall through. And then this offseason, Draymond Green and the Warriors came to an agreement. Draymond Green basically opted out of his contract. It was a guaranteed $27.7 million contract, very risky. But he did this, and I think it was probably a backhanded agreement with the Warriors. He did this to free up some cap space for the hopes that they would be able to nab LeBron James. LeBron James ultimately went to the Philadelphia 76ers, and Draymond Green went ahead and signed that $27.7 million deal. That was about the amount of money. I think it's actually the amount of money that he was designated to make anyway, but yeah, I mean, that's a pretty risky move for Draymond Green, but obviously he knows the Warriors organization. I don't know what goes on in the back room discussions, but I mean, talk about a team player. I mean, he's taking one there for the team, trying to help improve that team, trying to get as much talent as he can to make one final push and run for a chip. You got to respect Draymond Green for that. I used to hate him, but over time watching him and watching his game, that dude's a dog. I mean, he's the heart and the soul of that Warriors team. And I know that Steph Curry loves him, and the Warriors organization knows that they need Draymond Green to keep Steph Curry satisfied there with the Warriors. So it's almost like a done deal package. Now it's a 1-year deal. There's a no trade clause contract that was not included yet, as far as I know. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Draymond's coming back for 1 more year. I don't know if it's going to be his last, but he's going to have to prove himself if he wants another larger contract moving forward. And then finally, we're just going to touch base on the NFL. Training camp has officially begun. And oh my God, Raiders fans, how are you guys feeling? You guys had the number 1 draft pick this past April. You guys drafted a quarterback with that number 1 pick. Mr. Mendoza himself, Heisman winner, made a huge commitment, fully guaranteed $57.27 million rookie contract that was signed on July 23rd. And now we're on training camp. Summer season's a couple of months away, and we are hearing talks that Mendoza is being benched by Kirk Cousins, who was ultimately benched last year by the Falcons, but now he's number 1 on the depth chart. I know it's early. We're still in training camp, but I don't know if I should be, if Raider fans, I don't know if you guys should be worried, concerned, or if this is just like, let the vet go out there, take a few reps, let Mendoza learn from him, and then eventually come in. But making a $57 million commitment to a rookie quarterback and he's behind in the depth chart here in the training camp is a little bit concerning, but maybe that's just how the Raiders want to do it. They just want him to sit back and learn from the veteran Cousins for a couple of games, and maybe they'll throw him in. But just something to monitor there. That's pretty big. Mendoza's been taking it like a champ, at least publicly. He says he's cool with it. I'm sure Cousins is very happy to get his role back as starter after he was ousted by the Falcons last year after a bizarre situation. I mean, the Falcons had signed him to a multi-million-dollar deal. If I'm not mistaken, let me just pull this up here. Yeah, they signed him to a 4-year, $180 million contract last year, only to get benched after a few games into the regular season. So, but yeah, here we go. We're going to see Kirk Cousins again, it looks like, and we'll see how it goes. I'll be keeping you guys posted with any big news and updates here in the NFL training camp and NBA offseason. And that was Mo's Sports Desk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It's our final day of Spider-Man!
Yes, we have come to the conclusion of Spidey Month.
And we're ending this month by reviewing Spider-Man Brand New Day. Yeah. So this is how we're going to do it, folks. We did not see this movie together. We actually saw it separate. We both have different views about the film, and you're going to hear both of us give our takes and our review. And then after that, we're going to talk spoilers. So if you don't want to know anything about it, it's safe to hear now. We'll remind you again about spoilers, and then you could either skip it or come back later and make sure you listen to it after you watch the film. Most of you probably already have. I mean, it's been huge. So just a quick recap, Spider-Man Brand New Day. So it takes place right after the last Spider-Man, and then you have a beautiful montage of what happened to him in the past 4 years. And now Spider-Man, he's on his own. He's being the neighborhood Spider-Man that we all know and love. But however, there's something weird happening to him. I guess the stress of his life is making his mutation change him. At the same time, there's a secret foe that Spidey really doesn't know how to handle, and he asks for help. So I don't want to go further than that because, that will require spoilers. So, Mo, take it away. Give your thoughts about the film and give it a rating, and then I will do the same.
Well, let me just say, excellent summary there without any of the spoilers. That does sum up the movie without getting too into the details. I walked out of that movie just in awe in a lot of ways. Because for me, it was kind of an emotional coaster because I had really big expectations for this film. And watching that first, 20, 30 minutes, I was like, man, I feel like this is shaping up to be really good. I can feel it. Like, Tom Holland, in my opinion, I think he gave the best performance he's ever done as Spider-Man in this film, as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. Yeah, it feels like he's just grown into the role. I feel like he really understands the vibe and the character. And maybe it's partly due to the director as well, who does have a lot. He is using a lot of the material from Spider-Man and from the game. He played the game. He's a Spidey fan as far as I understand. So maybe that also did help with the direction. But Tom Holland, I think, did the best job as Spider-Man and Peter Parker in all of the Spider-Man films that he's been a part of. He knocked it out of the ballpark, in my opinion. The fight scenes were incredible. I think they looked at some of those Spider-Man Insomniac games. They took some notes and they were like, yeah, let's incorporate this into the movies. And yeah, I mean, the fight scenes were incredible. I think John Bernthal was probably my favorite character in the movie, to be honest. I loved his role. We'll get into that more into the spoilers, but absolutely loved him. Yeah, I mean, the special effects, Spidey. The only thing is, I felt when I walked out of the movie, like it took me through a whirlwind of emotions, excitement, happiness. There were some sad parts for me for sure, and some shockers. But I walked out of the movie feeling like this movie was incomplete. I felt like they took me on this great adventure and it felt like it was to be continued. Like it didn't feel completed. Like we're going to have another Spider-Man movie for what I'm taking from this. And because of that, I just felt walking out of the movies just a little empty about that. I didn't feel like it was a complete movie. Nonetheless, I still thought it was very enjoyable. I enjoyed the movie as a Spidey fan. I just felt like, yeah, something was missing. Something was missing for me. Something was missing. So because of that, I would probably have to give this a 6.5 out of 8 bits. I thought it was a fun movie. It was an adventure, great special effects. Tom Holland knocked it out of the ballpark. John Bernthal, surprise characters in there as well. Appreciated. But ultimately, I just felt like this movie is going to just to be continued. It just didn't feel finished. It felt like this was part 1 to, I don't know, a part 2 or part 3 saga. But yeah, it didn't feel fully complete. Something was missing. I don't know how to describe it other than that, but it was just fun. It was a fun movie, but something was missing. And I guess that's my take. I don't know. What about you, buddy? What'd you think?
That's a good take. Wow. I actually thought you loved this film. I'm kind of in the same boat. Well, for me, after years of Marvel giving us more misses than hits, with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 being the one shining exception, you can always count on that one hero to restore our little faith in the MCU. We are friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Tom Holland gives what I think is the strongest performance yet. It's honestly kind of wild that this is his 4th solo Spider film, and we're now just getting the version of Peter Parker fans has been asking for since day one. He's finally in New York, swinging between skyscrapers, landing on rooftop, dodging pigeons, and acting and feeling like the neighborhood Spider-Man we all grew up with, right? And I know you have, but for those of you who actually did play the Insomniac Spider-Man games, you're gonna notice the inspiration immediately in the best possible way. The camera work is incredible. The web swinging is gorgeous, and the action is some of the best we ever seen in a Spider-Man film. There are moments where I had like the biggest grin on my face because it just felt like Spider-Man. The score is solid. The soundtrack works, and one of the biggest highlights has to be seeing Spider-Man and Punisher together. They're completely different views on justice. Create some really fun interactions, and honestly, I could watch like a series of just them
those two.
Yeah. Just them two bouncing off of each other, Now, before you think I'm about to crown this the best Spider-Man movie ever made, not so fast. The script is definitely the weakest part of the film. It borrows ideas from other movies and even other franchises, and some of those inspirations are a little bit too obvious. The main villain also didn't quite work for me, but I'll leave that conversation in the spoiler part. There are also a few creative decisions that had my head scratching. Bringing back Michelle Jones and Ned Needs felt unnecessary for me. And there are a handful of moments that made me wonder, why did they go in that direction? It's not enough to ruin the movie, but it's a noticeable bump on the road. That said, here's why I walked away smiling. The movie has heart. It has energy. It remembers that Spider-Man is supposed to be fun. More importantly, it sets the stage for what it could be really exciting for the exciting future. The potential is absolutely there, and something I haven't been able to say about a lot of recent Marvel movies, right? Because he always like come out disappointing. Director Daniel Cretton, coming off of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, he gives us a fresh vision of Spider-Man. John Watts did a good job with the home trilogy, but Cretton, feels like hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Cretton feels like he's steering Peter Parker in a new era. If this is the first chapter, in any indication, I think the Brand New Day trilogy has a lot of promise. So where do I land? Spider-Man Brand New Day isn't perfect. It has some frustrating writing choices, a few missed opportunities, but it's also exciting, heartfelt, visually stunning, and most importantly, it's fun. Sometimes that's exactly what a Spider-Man movie needs to be. If you could remember the Sam Raimi's, especially the first two, they were very fun. So I'm giving Spider-Man Brand New Day a 5.5 out of 8 bits. There you go. That's my
All right.
Yes. So now we're gonna talk about the movie, folks. Just to let you know, this is now spoiler territory. We're gonna go over spoilers. So if you already seen the movie, stick around. You're gonna see what we had problems with and what worked for us.
Let's dive into it. Yeah.
First thing, so like we both agree, Tom Holland, this is the best version of Peter Parker we've seen. Honestly, I have no problem with Tom Holland being Spider-Man. He's always been a big fan, and now he's old enough to actually fill those shoes like he always wanted.
Yeah,
So,
I think he did a great job. Like I said, I don't know if this was partly due to the director and the creative force with him, or Tom Holland just really, taking it to another level, or maybe it's a combination of both. But I was very pleased with this Spider-Man. In fact, this might be the best Spider-Man I've seen, like portrayal, one of the best at least.
that said, Tom is good. I did have a problem with the writing. So one of the issues I took kept on bugging me. It was showcased in the trailer. And to me, that was worrisome, is that so from Far From Home till now, it's been 4 to 5 years. He still can't let go. He can't let go of Ned. He can't let go of MJ. And I cannot believe that this guy can't move on from them.
That's his best friend and his love of his life, though.
Yeah,
You
but
don't think-
but that was the point. Is like he had a responsibility
to let it go.
He made a big decision.
Okay.
For the safety of the world, especially them. And then he made a choice. He made a grown-up choice in the last movie that he's not going to interfere in their lives because he remembers. Like he doesn't look.
He messed up. He messed up in the last movie, and he had to take responsibility. So what you're saying is you don't like the fact that he's trying to have his cake and eat it too.
No, because that's not Spider-Man. It's not. And plus, if you really do love her, right? If you love someone that much, you just let them go. You don't ponder on your decision. You don't regret your decision. To me, it seems like he's regretting his damn decision every single day for the past 5 years, bro. 5 years. Plus, on the building that he's living, he had a fine girl who's
she was coming on to him too.
And he's like, no, I'm cute.
I'm not gonna lie though. I don't know if this is just this twisted sense of pleasure I get from watching Peter just be emo and just downtrodden. There's just something that pleasure I get from it, Peter's got to be suffering, like.
No, I understand, but there's other ways to make him suffer.
No, for sure. I'm just saying I was indulging in that. That's all.
Yeah. See, this is why like my favorite Spider-Man is Spider-Man 2, because remember, he gets fired from a job. He can't get a date. He's always broke. His rent is due. His doors, everything's broken. He's failing class. All that because he's trying to balance his life as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And he got to a point that, he was stressed out, and then he decided to be Spider-Man no more. That's a great storyline. They could have done that, right? Instead, I got stalker vibes from him, dude. It's like every night at home, he's on his freaking phone, just looking at Ned and MJ for 5 years. Think about it. For 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
That's pretty intense.
That is pretty intense. And don't get me wrong. I thought they were going to save it. Like the writing was going to save it, because there was a moment where MJ finally finds the letter that he was supposed to give her, right? And what she said was 100% true. Peter, that's not me. I don't love you.
Right.
And then she walks away. Boom! Clarity. You let it go. You move on. I thought if they ended it right there, it would have been perfect. Why? Because now Peter now has the ability to move on.
He
Move
got
on.
that closure.
Yes.
Officially.
Yes. Because you're there loving this woman. This woman doesn't even know you exist. Just leave her. Just go. Move on. But no, the writing had her come back and be like, you should meet Ned too.
Want to come upstairs?
And this is where and this, even though it's not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure this is the reason why she's going to be returning in future Spider-Man films, because they just cannot let her go. They need to keep Zendaya in this for some certain reason, and I do not know why. Peter, the writers had the opportunity to have other love interests to Peter, or even have Black Cat, who's into Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's like, no. But she's like very aggressive, right? But we didn't get none of that. Okay, fine. You don't want to write that story. But the biggest mistake is having MJ return to his life.
I was just thinking throughout the film, like, how are they going to do this? How are they going to pull this off? How do you come back from this? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, how do you make a cohesive script where it makes like sense that MJ, falls back into Peter's life somehow? And I think it felt forced as the movie progressed a little bit. That's for sure. And then, once the movie ended, I kind of just felt like, well, what happened?
But that's what I'm saying.
What's going to happen?
Because they left it like, okay, well, Peter's back in their lives pretty much, but we don't know to what extent.
Right. It was very open in the air, very, yeah.
So I always complain that it has some diet fatigue, but I actually think she actually did a great job in this film.
I think it was her best performance too.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, did she take acting lessons? What's going on? This is a new different Zendaya. I really like her in this.
You know what? I don't know, because I've seen a couple of episodes of Euphoria, the HBO show with Zendaya in it, and she actually does a great job in that show. And I was shocked because, from a lot of the other movies I've seen her in, like Doom and the Spidey movies, I didn't really get that sense of acting. But she does a great job in Euphoria. So maybe the acting's there, and maybe it's just, the directing and the style that they want to, maybe they just want her to have that Gen Z stare and just kind of, I don't know the direction that they're taking, but I think Zendaya definitely has skills. I just don't think they're utilizing it correctly. And again, with this new director, all of a sudden you see Tom Holland, you see Zendaya, and they're knocking it out of the park. So maybe it is a matter of directing. I don't know. Just a theory, but
no, it's a good theory. Well, I only seen her in other movies, and it's just the same her, right? Even in The Greatest Showman, she, supposedly she's supposed to be like this freak because she's black, but when Zac Efron's parents was being racist, I couldn't get it how bad that affected her, because her acting wasn't there.
You just didn't feel it. Yeah,
I was like, whatever. But like I said, this is the first time in a movie role that I seen her in that she actually was acting the part. And before we continue on, this scene, right? You and I know what, and whoever saw this movie,
that was
we
dirty,
saw
by the
this
way.
scene. We saw this scene. She was great. Zendaya was great in this scene, right? I was like, wow, that's really cool. Where was this before? But we'll get back to this scene. Yeah, dude, it just bugged me that Peter just couldn't let go. In fact, it got to a point that he was even following Ned back to his place. So for those of you remember in the trailer, they're in the party. Peter followed Ned to go to that party. He was not invited. They didn't know who he was, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna go because I miss him. Bro, it's been 5 years, bro. Let go.
Let me just say that was a pretty cool house party, because the moment Peter walked in, someone was like, here, bro, you need a drink in your hand.
And then he was coughing like a little. No, I'm playing. No, it's cool. But then, they could have... This would have been a nice little origin story for Ned, because he walks in Ned's room, right? And what does Peter see? Freaking a poster board of him trying to track down who Spider-Man is. So automatically you feel like Ned is obsessed with Spider-Man. Now he'll take it as, well, he saved our lives so many times. I just want to thank him. I admire him, right? Or you could take it to the dark side where Ned is just, fascinated by Spider-Man. And it drives him crazy to the point that he just twists his mind and becomes a Hobgoblin. Just throwing it out there, guys. There's still time to have Ned as Hobgoblin. I want to see that.
I mean, the way it's going, yeah. I mean, it looks like they're extending these films, so yeah, I wouldn't put it past.
And you know what? And it's cool because in the comics, Peter was best friend with Harry Osborn, who turned into the Green Goblin. Maybe in this universe, his best friend becomes the Hobgoblin.
I could totally buy into that. I could totally see that. That would be a kind of cool alternate take there.
Yes. Now I know we jumped ahead of the film, so I'm going to go a little bit in the beginning. So I really enjoyed the first, just like you, Mo. I really enjoy like the first half of the movie, especially the first 5 to 10 minutes. That montage of the 5-year gap was amazing. I love seeing all the different variants of the comic books in live action. That was really cool. I love the first person view, which, they had to take it from Amazing Spider-Man because my man Andrew Garfield was the first one who done that. The first person view. They do it here too. The rooftop fight was really fun.
They snuck in a few villains from Spider-Man lore in there too. Greatly appreciated.
Yes, it was fun. And then we get at the end of the montage, we actually get introduced to a new character in this universe, and that is Detective McWolf. So Detective McWolf is a character in the comics. In the original Amazing Spider-Man comics, I'm not too familiar with her. I just know that she was a friend of Peter. She was a detective, and she has some sort of involvement between Spidey and Venom. I don't know to what extent. However, I do know her in the Ultimate Universe because that's when I started collecting comics. And same relationship. She's helping Peter with crimes and stuff. They're working with each other, but then it turns out at the very end, she's actually working for the Kingpin. I don't know how they're going to take it here. I have no problem with this character, except I think she had a little bit too much of a screen time. I guess she's trying to play the motherly role, but at this point, Peter doesn't need that. He doesn't need a motherly role in his life right now, But yeah, I mean, she did a fantastic job.
I appreciated it, yeah. A little too much time.
Too much time.
A little too many scenes.
Because it really doesn't go anywhere. It really doesn't go anywhere.
That's
so
fair.
I'm not hating on her or the character. In fact, I would have loved to have JJ Jameson back.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Really go ham on Spider-Man, having the city turn against him.
Actually, it felt kind of strange having a Spidey film without him just talking his smack about Spider-Man,
But you know what, though? Having him on screen and doing that, the payoff, how they end this movie would have been greater. Because you would think like, oh, everyone hates Spider-Man because of JJ, right? But then at the very end, you see those group of people who are supporting Spider-Man. That would have the contrast would have been way greater. That would have been a better ending. Maybe next time, if you really want to, in the beginning, have the city just really don't trust Spidey. But at the end, you see Spidey like, oh my God, these people really do love me. That would have been cool. Another character who I think wasn't really necessary for this film, but she was in the film, was Florence Pugh as Yelena.
That was a little out of left field, actually. That kind of caught me by surprise.
Well, what caught me by surprise is how she was kind of sexualizing Peter, kind of.
Take off your suit, Peter.
Take off your suit, Peter. I
so
need
we
to
can
know
talk
if you're wearing a weapon. Why? And she's there naked, too, I'm assuming. Right? And I'm like, no.
So maybe they just needed a reason to have Tom Holland take off his shirt to show off his incredible physique for the
his
ladies.
Wife beater was enough, man. His wife beater was enough. No, but it's one of those things. I think this was a perfect opportunity to have Spidey wear one of his alternative costumes from the game, which is only the mask and shorts. Maybe, I don't know. Nudge, nudge. But here's the thing. Spidey goes and asks for help. Hey, there's this person who's doing this. She's like, well, maybe this person is a possessor. It's possessing people. But this is small potatoes. Don't leave me alone, blah, 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 right? Now, in hindsight, I know Peter Parker is our friend in neighborhood Spider-Man. But in hindsight, bitch, he went in space to fight Thanos. Show fucking respect. Did you forget that? You would not be here if it wasn't for Peter's help. Granted, he blimped, but he was there when the world needed him. Where were you? That's right. You were in a restroom to see Black Widow, the movie. Yes. So give the man some respect, bro. This fool fought aliens.
It's a little messed up, actually.
Yeah. It's like, you're just lucky he hasn't taken your job because he's more qualified than you. That's all I'm saying, Lena. But honestly, She didn't bring anything to the table. I'm not going to lie. She's very easy on the eyes. But if you took her out of the film,
Wouldn't matter.
nothing would change. Absolutely. No setup or anything. It was just like, whatever. So there's that.
I mean, maybe that relationship will build in the next film is my only guess why they introduced her. Because other than that, like you said, you could just cut her out and wouldn't matter.
Oh, I know why they introduced her. They're trying to make her a thing. That's all it is. They're trying to make her a thing.
Like a regular character.
Well, they try, like, you know how they were trying to push Brie Larson?
Mm-hmm.
And that fell completely?
Captain Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, it fell completely. They're doing the same thing to her. I'm like, dude, I have no problem. Just they have to earn it first. You can't just
or
give
at least
us a
make
character.
it make sense.
Yeah,
make it make sense. Yeah,
make it make sense. But
that's fair.
I wouldn't say shit if it was like Scarlett Johansson. I'm like, well, yeah, she has the right to be in the position she's in. Yeah, you know. But one thing though, we finally get to see Scorpion in action. Sadly, he wasn't the main villain. I'm glad he wasn't. I'm glad he wasn't just a cameo either. He had he literally had like 2 parts, small roles, but I'm glad he was reoccurring. Actually, in the beginning of the movie, they had like a larger role where, you know, someone's trying to free him from damage control. So that was really cool. And then he comes back and fights Spidey later on. And it was good to see him in action.
It was a very satisfying battle scene and satisfying character to see on the screen. I was happy with him.
Do you remember Spider-Man's origins by any chance? I'm sorry, Scorpion's origins.
His actual like comic book origins.
Yeah.
I think it was Jay Jonah, right? Am I on the right track? Yeah, Jay Jonah was just so obsessed with nailing Spider-Man that
making the world see him as the evil person he is.
That he decided to get the downtrodden Gargan, and he got a scientist to give him some DNA altering enhancements, and then they got the suit for him, and he became the Scorpion. And I know Jameson wanted the Scorpion to get Spider-Man and capture him and reveal him to the world, but Gargan lost his mind. I mean, he was already kind of a little unstable, but he lost his mind even further with the substance that he took to become the Scorpion.
So here's the thing: you had the Scorpion here already in the movie. Why not have JJ? They could have played that story out. Like that story could have been played. I think that would have been.
You think that could have been the main story or kind of a side piece?
Well, here's the problem with this film. There's 2 stories in this film. One involving Spider-Man, and the second one involving somebody who's not. That was the problem. So once again, like this is the first time I feel more like this is a Spider-Man film because he's not really a sidekick to anybody, right? He doesn't have Nick Fury helping him out. He doesn't have Tony Stark helping him out. He doesn't have his twin brothers helping him out. Technically, you do have the detective that's kind of helping him out, but not really. Yeah, you have Yelena there in the background too, giving him advice. Yeah, you have him being buddy with damage control, but that's kind of pushing it, you know? I just want a Spider-Man film, right? No help, just him taking care of business himself. I mean, he has a freaking AI for crying out loud, you know? And don't get me wrong. I mean, I know in this day and age, especially in the MCU, AI is common, I guess, right?
For sure.
I guess, but it's like, are you going to figure anything out yourself? It's like,
can I just say, I was thinking throughout the movie, how the hell is Peter paying for everything?
That's another thing too, because
I mean, this dude was not working, and he has all this tech, all this equipment. Dude spending all of his days, like, you know.
You don't want to make sense if maybe he was working with that JJ, you know? You probably don't have to like get pictures of Spider-Man, but maybe get pictures of other things, because in this universe, I feel like JJ Jameson is he's like the Alex Jones of the world, you know?
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy and, you know, they're
Definitely.
making their, why not? Like I said, the movie was there. You had Mark Garden there. If you had JJ there, you know, it would have played off even more. The ending would have been way better.
More satisfying.
Satisfying. And you don't have to walk out feeling that there's something missing, because it would have been a complete Spider-Man story, and one that we were familiar with. There's nothing wrong with familiarity, you know? There's a reason why Spider-Man was popular in the first place. We're familiar with the character. We love his stories. But like I said, I don't know who wrote this, but by all means, I would have loved to see more Scorpion for sure. The small amount, I mean, the actor, I think he's He's brilliant.
I can't help but feel that this was just a missed opportunity. I'm not even talking about the Scorpion character, but that is a missed opportunity too. But just, we didn't really have a Spider-Man villain, like main villain in this film. It just felt weird. Also, another question, is Peter going to school or not? Because I can't figure this out. It doesn't look like he's going to school. And also, that's kind of a key component to Peter is, Dude, besides being Spider-Man, he's a scientist, and I mean, he's got to go to school. I know he's got brains on his own. He doesn't have to technically go to school, but yeah, I don't see that. Like, did he just stop going after the Strange event?
No, because here's the thing. He was wearing
I know he wore the Empire State University thing, but I don't know if he went in there to blend into the university and to go into Banner's classroom, because when he was departing from Banner, he's like, I'm gonna go to the library, and Banner was like,
the library's over there, bro.
That way. Like, clearly Peter doesn't know the campus.
You know what? You're absolutely right. So he's not working. He
not
doesn't
going
have
to
a
school.
job. You see, then that just makes it even worse that he's stalking this girl for 5 years. The guy's not going to school. He's not working.
Dude's got it bad,
bro. I would have got a restraining order, like 100% restraining order. I'm like, fuck. All right. Well, speaking of Banner, what did you think of the Hulk returning back in his savage form?
I mean, thank God. Jeez, man, I've been waiting years for this. Give us more Hulk, please.
So when Peter went to go face the Hulk, and I saw it was Smart Hulk, I was like, no, this ain't the Hulk that I want to see.
Right.
I love the real Savage Hulk kind of broke through Jean's Grey trans as well as Bruce Banner trans. I kind of giddied when he says, there's no Banner, only Hulk. I'm like, yeah. And then this is a fun moment that you go to watch. Him going against Peter was amazing, just because you actually get to finally see, could Peter really take on the Hulk? It said no, he can't.
No, he knew it. He knew it too. He was just trying to damage control.
Bro, I love that he was slowing Hulk down with his webs. It got to a point I felt like the webs was actually cutting through him. And my favorite part with the Hulk is when he actually does the slap move, when he just slaps it and everything's just went like a shockwave.
Yeah, like across blocks. I mean, that was crazy to watch.
But what made that scene too, that whole sequence great, was this man right here. You know him as the Punisher. Oh my. Let's go. Listen, when I saw him just coming in, just shooting, blazing, I'm like, yes.
I think they did a great job of nailing the character too in this movie. It felt like the Punisher.
It felt like the Punisher until the very end. But we'll get to that.
Well, you're talking, the hospital and all that. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll get to that. But yeah, no, for the most part, this was probably my favorite character aside from obviously Spidey in this flick. I mean, I loved John Bernthal as the Punisher in this flick. And the chemistry that him and Tom Holland had bouncing off each other, amazing. Just amazing. You could just kind of see their two takes on how to solve and go about problems. Spidey obviously trying to take the righteous way, and Punisher just trying to take the by all means way. So it was nice to see that contrast and see that conflict play out. You could tell they both get on each other's nerves, but they also both have a lot of love and respect for each other. I just love the Punisher in this flick.
And for the most part, I kind of like the fact that we enter this storyline that they already have a relationship. We didn't have to seal the buildup. We kind of get a clue when they first met because they keep on bringing it up. However, it was nice to see
Staten Island.
Yeah.
I saved your life, bro. You owe me one.
But I love that we're right there in that friendship where it doesn't need introduction, and you kind of get the sense of this is how they work together in this world, right? We're to a point that Spidey literally has to take him out without hurting him. But it's all, I love it. I was like, this is really great. This is really cool. This is the fun part of the movie. And I could probably say 99.9% of the Punisher in this film is fun to watch. It's fun to watch. Him going after the Hulk was great because there's no way his bullets could hurt the Hulk. So they let him go. They just dude, Punisher, do your thing because you can't hurt him. And there you go.
Very clever way to throw that
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
so he even threw a bomb on him, bro. Just like, I'm like, that's so cool. But yeah, so let's talk about the worst kept secret in this movie, which is the main villain.
Jean
You
Grey?
have seen her in the trailer. Everyone's wondering, well, who's that? Who's that? And then the internet's like, oh, that has to be Jean Grey. And it turns out that it is Jean Grey. That's right. X-Men's Jean Grey. And does it work for the most part? Look, I'm going to say this. Shady did a fantastic job as Jean Grey. However, there's major problem in the writing with this villain. And I'll tell you what it is. So if you're not aware, Jean Grey is an X-Men member. There's no X-Men yet in this MCU, but she's going to be an X-Men one day. The problem is she's a murderer. She literally kills people in this film. There's no walking away from that. It's like she plays an amazing villain, but that's what she is, a villain, and she's killing people and got away with it. Like, there's something majorly wrong and flawed about this character in this universe. And I do not believe Spider-Man, especially Punisher, would just let her go just like that. It's just, at least put her in jail, at least, because like I said, we're in spoilers, guys. She's just goes off. She's free. Where is she going? We don't know. We just assume that she's going to the X Mansion, maybe. We don't know. But yeah, so what's her motivation, Mo? Her motivation is damage control.
She wanted to save her sister from damage control. Until she finds the horrible truth that her sister was basically murdered or sacrificed in the experimentation that they were performing on her.
So her sister, she's a telepath as well. Okay. Damage control did not just take her sister because, she's a mutant. Even though they didn't even use the word mutant here. But she was kind of like mind raping everyone and was about to teach her sister how to do that skill. So, that's kind of a major violation. So damage control did the right thing and, took her in. So here's where the problem lies. She gets taken by damage control by Bill Mitzer. He's kind of the leader of damage control in this sector, and he's the one who took her sister. Now, I know you don't know this. Bill Mitzer, he's actually is a comic book character. And he's an X-Men comic book character, and he's actually an anti-mutant character. Yes. So when they said his name, I'm like, well, okay, it makes sense. In the comics, Magneto kills him. So there's that.
Not surprising.
In this movie, he doesn't die. So he's still, I don't even know what actually happens to him. We just know that they investigated damage control and they probably put him in jail. But so
a lot of loose ends in this film.
Very lots of loose ends. But this is where the movie really is the problem is you're introducing an X-Men character who's a villain. You're introducing the X-Men in a Spider-Man film. It's supposed to be a Spider-Man film, but no, now it's being hijacked by Jean Grey because once you find out it's Jean Grey, it's the Jean Grey story. Even to the point that even after midway of this film, we get to know her origins, why she's doing the things that she's doing. That's something you learn in the first act. Not in the middle of the second act, heading towards the third act.
I think they were trying to keep that character kind of a mystery for the audience, is what I'm presuming. Because we're, a lot of people were just like, who is it? Who is this person? And I think maybe they wanted to break it like that. But like you said, a lot of people already kind of called it before the movie even came out. So,
well, the trailer did the big mistake of revealing her powers. And we kind of get an idea who could use and what MCU faction has those powers. Is nobody in Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So it would have made more sense if instead of Jean Grey, it was Emma Frost. Because Emma Frost, a mutant, but she's a bad mutant. Don't forget, she's an evil mutant, so it would have made perfect sense. And in fact, Emma Frost has a sister. I'm not sure if Jean Grey actually has a sister in the comics.
I'm not sure either. Yeah.
But I know Emma Frost has a sister, and it would have made more sense if Emma Frost, a villain.
What do we do with Jean Grey's character now? I mean, yeah, she's a villain in this film, but looks like, after battling with Spidey and intruding into his thoughts and having that Aunt May moment, all of a sudden, she had a change of heart. What do we do with this character? Because like you said, you can't go back. She has murdered people.
She will return back in this MCU as Jean Grey when they introduce the X-Men. But yeah, the damage has already been done. It's like, are we going to forget that she did murder people? She really didn't care about the safety of nobody. Even in the beginning of the film, she was using a tank that had a bomb in it, and she didn't even care about the casualties. She just rammed it in damage control. That's crazy. You know?
It's a weird thing given what, at least, what I know about Jean Grey. Jean Grey's usually the voice of reason in the X-Men. She's usually the calm the voice of reason. She's able to, she's able always to talk down Wolverine when he's like losing his shit. She's almost like, right next to Professor X. It's like Jean Grey, Cyclops, Professor X. Like those are the three, the three heads. And I guess you could say the Beast, but yeah, they seem to always be able to, keep everyone focused, calm. Jean Grey's kind of always been that character to me, but maybe, this is a young Jean Grey learning her way. I mean, I don't know. Just
I mean, for crying out loud, she tried to kill MJ.
Almost did. Dude, that was savage, by the way. This scene was savage.
It was.
She so mind effed Peter on this scene. I mean, that was brutal.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, okay, I'm watching the scene, and then when she lifted his mask to kiss him, right? I told you, I don't think that's MJ. No way. And then look what happened. It turns out that it was Jean Grey the whole time.
Also, side note.
She was so, yeah.
Side note, did you get a Sam Raimi vibe check on that lifting of the mask a little bit, or no?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
I even told you, I'm like, oh, they're doing the Rami. They're doing that kiss, that famous MJ kiss.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. No, but dude, she was really, like you said, it was a really brutal scene, because she even says, man, you love her, but I'm in her head and there's not even a single memory of you.
Not a single
You're
thought.
Nothing. I'm like,
devastating.
But I'm like, you deserve this, Peter. You should have just let it go. You deserve it, you bastard. Then he grabbed her by the throat, like demanding her to leave, right? But that was such a trippy scene, because it looked like he was choking MJ.
Yeah.
Right? Not even realize he's choking MJ. And then, she's like, okay, then bloom.
I don't know if you were going to bring it up, but, the spider mutation.
Yes.
What was that? I mean, there was a part of me that was hoping that we were going to maybe see our first on-screen man spider. Because we had the Punisher. We already had the Punisher. That was already established, the relationship. He's mutating. I thought that would have been I think that would also have been a really cool direction to take it.
Well, think about this. You had the Punisher. He becomes Man Spider. If you only had JJ seeing that transformation.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm still going to bring JJ up. There's no reason why he couldn't have been in this movie. I'm just saying. But I told you before that wasn't going to happen, because the mutation wasn't based on that particular mutation. It was more based on the book called The Others, where it kind of lines up with this version, where Peter just he's mutating to become stronger, pretty much.
But in this case, the stress is just it's
kind of triggering him. And I think they were trying to do what Sam Raimi did in part 2, where Spider-Man
losing his trouble with his web and stuff. Yeah, I felt like there were a lot of borrowed elements from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man in this one, actually. What was the whole point of that? Was it just to somehow integrate the whole, the DNA suppressing tech, into the script? Because other than that, it just felt like there was no payoff. There was no, he was dealing with this issue. And then at the end of the film, he just was like, well, F it. I'm just going to embrace it. I don't need this. I don't really get it. I mean, what was the point of it all?
If this was a smarter movie, that mutation should have been the symbiote.
Could have been a clever way to introduce it. I know Sony would have loved that.
Even that fight between him and Scorpion, the last fight that they had, and he went full rage mode.
Damn.
Bro, I got symbiote vibes out of that. I'm like, this is a dark Spider-Man. Yeah. This is a black suited Spider-Man right here. There's no payoff to it whatsoever. It's just, you know what this is a story beat from, like I said, take it from somewhere else. This is a story beat from Batman Forever, where Batman was struggling if he could be Bruce Wayne or Batman. And at the very end, he tells the Riddler,
poor Edward. I had to save them both. You see, I'm both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Not because I have to be. Now,
because I choose to be.
That's what I totally got when Peter said almost the exact same thing.
Yeah, very
To
similar
Jean
along
Grey.
the line. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fine. There's no point to it. There was no point to it. Maybe now that he has organic webbing now, just like Toby.
Also, I don't know how I feel about the web machines or the web God, what are they called?
Web shooters.
Yeah, the web shooters being on the outside of the suit rather than being concealed underneath the suit. I don't know how I feel about that one. Just something to put out there.
And then we get that lovely scene of Punisher being sentimental. So I'm like, okay, so what now, Punisher? Like from now on, what, you're going to be cautious? You're not going to do your job anymore? You're having feelings. Castle. What's going
Spider-Man's
on?
making him a little soft, I see.
Jeez. Especially when like he walks out, right? And then he's wearing the mask, just playing with the crowd.
That
like,
was hilarious. So I loved that. But yeah, that's
It
not
was
Punisher
fun.
at all, though.
Like I said, this movie's fun, but a lot of these characters are not the same characters we grew up. So that's why we probably came out with mixed feelings about it, because there's something off. And that something off is that these ain't the characters that we know.
Right.
You know?
And I think people who just grew up watching these films and not really, not really familiar with the characters in the comic history, they probably have a completely take on this film than us. And that's fair. But yeah, just like you say, it's just not the characters that we're accustomed to. It's very strange. Like, for example, Mary Jane helping Peter with the genetic tech. Like MJ, what did she say? She was like studying biochem.
This is way above her pay grade. Like even Banner took a while. Like
they were having a long discussion. Yeah, and you're telling me MJ is a science whiz?
It's your math, Peter.
And I have nothing wrong if MJ is a science whiz, but just speaking from comics and the lore, that was not MJ. Peter was the science guy. MJ was trying to be a model, trying to be an actor. That was her thing.
Wait, you're telling me that MJ wanted to be an actress in Broadway, like Spider-Man 2? There, I said it.
Boom.
Boom.
Yeah. So I don't know that for me as an older school Spidey fan, that one kind of just rubbed me a little wrong. Seeing that,
bro, I've been having these feelings since Homecoming. There's a lot of stuff I'm like, that MJ does not work. It's like, you guys are making somebody else. That's why I said I'd rather prefer her to be a new character. It doesn't have to be MJ. Because that's not MJ. Even if you want to disguise it as Michelle Jones, I don't care what universe you're in, that's not her.
Yeah, because honestly, the character is pretty cool, to be honest. It's just, for me, that's just not Mary Jane. But I mean, she's cool. She has a dark sense of humor. She's sarcastic. She's intelligent. All that stuff. All great. But again, yeah, just that's not Mary Jane. But, it is what it is.
All right. So, yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, now you heard our review. Like I said, go check it out. It's a fun movie. If you're a fan of Spider-Man like we are, we grew up with the comics, the cartoons, we know the back history. I mean, you're gonna have your problems with this. We don't know where he's getting his money. We don't know. I mean, he's a workaholic, that's for sure. If he's like all he's doing is fighting crime, right? But yet, how is he paying rent? How is he getting these cool gadgets? It's one of those things where just like, I'm not gonna say you gotta shut off your brain, but maybe it'll help out if you shut off your brain.
Yeah, that's what I try to do anyway. But yeah, the fan in the back of my head is like, what? That doesn't make sense. But yeah, you just got to let loose and have fun with this movie. I think that's what it's really intended for anyway. And it is a fun movie.
So that's our take. And thank you for joining us for Spider Month. It was a long month. You have anything to say, Mo?
I love Spider Month. I hope we can do it again sometime if there's another Spidey movie. But love Spider Month. Love talking about Spider-Man. I could do it all day. And for anyone that's seen the movie, let us know what you guys think. You guys agree, disagree, maybe agree on some points? Kind of curious to think what you guys think, because this is a pretty polarizing film in some ways, But nonetheless, it's a fun ride. I think we probably all enjoyed that ride. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys think.
But I want to add, for those of you who completely dislike this movie, don't like it whatsoever, I completely understand where you're coming from. That's okay too. It's okay to dislike this movie. Dude, look, we're not going to like everything that we like. I definitely would love this movie to be better for sure, 100%. But, this is the best what we got so far. And so far, like I said, out of the 10-year slot that we've been getting from the MCU, was actually a hoping light for the future. So, guys, thank you once again.
Before you go, now that you've seen the Spidey movie, do you still think it's going to be better than Doomsday? That you're going to enjoy it more?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't get me wrong.
You got no hope from Doomsday. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Doomsday will make its money, right? It kind of has to make its money. I don't think it's gonna break even. I'm telling you this right now. I don't think it's gonna break even. I think it's gonna lose money. But it's gonna have a big turnout for the first week. Would it have legs? I'm not totally sure. Just because I already know the story, and I don't like the story. The story's different from what they're playing in the trailer.
Okay.
I'll just say
leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Okay.
But yeah, I think Spider-Man's gonna take the bulk of it. In fact, I think Spider-Man's gonna make more than Doomsday.
Calling in now. Okay.
I'm calling it now. And just because Doomsday has competition. It has Dune 3. Right? I know people are not going to take their kids to watch that, but I just recently found out that they're going to have Jumanji 3 coming out, or Jumanji 4, called Open World.
All that same weekend? Or basically same week, or more or less?
Same week. Because I think Dune and Doomsday, I think they're coming out a week before Christmas, and Jumanji is coming out in Christmas.
Okay, yeah,
So
they're gonna all be competing.
They're gonna.
I don't know why Dune and Doomsday are coming out at the same time, but I don't get that.
Ego.
But I guess let's see who's. Yeah.
My money is Dune 2 is going to be Dune 3 is going to be the better movie. That's my money. Then it'll be Doomsday, and then very last will be Jumanji. Reason for that trailer was horrific. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? It's just an excuse to have The Rock cuddle up with
Kevin Hart,
little baby Kevin Hart. So.
Hey, we should make a Doomsday special when that time comes.
Oh, we should. In fact, we should probably have like an Avenger couple of weeks heading up to it. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be really fun.
Yeah,
Avenger month or something like that. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe and that notification bell. You can follow us here in YouTube, Rumble, as well on Instagram, and we will be coming out on other platforms like X and maybe Spotify, because I think Spotify will be a great audio for those who are taking that long ride.
Yeah, you can just hear us shooting the breeze here.
Yes, I'm Rob. That's Mo. And this has been Super Ordinary. Thank you so much and good night, and I'll see you next. Actually, mañana.
See you guys.